seals are fucking crazy.
All clear. On me, Rabbit.
Lima Charlie Markham on approach. 5 seconds. Hey, those footprints?
Okay.
Those are fresh.
You ready? Go, go, go!
RPG! 2 o'clock.
Fire!
Cars by Foley. Hold up. Abort the landing. LC and Jerry, abort the landing.
Yeah, get him out there.
Ready? Jump! Jump!
Hello everyone, my name is Goose, and today I'm going to be talking about a classic FPS game, Medal of Honor. Medal of Honor is a game that shaped my childhood, and now in 2025, we're going to be taking a trip back in time to explore every aspect of its impact, the good and the bad. The tactical FPS genre faces numerous issues with early access games that do not meet players' anticipations. These games often remain underdeveloped and are ignored or dropped from the radar of developers entirely, making it rather difficult for people to actually discover satisfactory experiences within the milsims genre. However, there is still hope for this genre, as older titles such as Medal of Honor have proven to be enduringly popular. These older games offer a balanced experience that these new titles struggle to replicate. This is not to say that Medal of Honor is the perfect game. It is not. Especially if you're playing the PC port, there are a lot of issues you may or may not run into. I'm going to have gameplay up in the background while I narrate this video. Forgive me if this is a little weird. I'm trying out something entirely new. I want to start out by talking about the story aspect of the game. After all, we're reviewing the campaign exclusively since the multiplayer for this game is non-existent at this point. The servers are dead, and I haven't really had the pleasure to get to experience what that was like. The story of the game is complex. I wouldn't say it's necessarily bad, but it isn't well put together. As a kid, when I was playing this game, the jarring issues with the story didn't stick out to me quite as much as they do today. You go through these missions and you have tasks to complete. And while it's clear what you're doing, when you start to think about the rationale behind everything, it gets more and more confusing. I thought to myself, and I was like, well, that's kind of similar to probably what the military experienced fighting in Afghanistan. That whole issue of why are we even here? But I can confidently say that they didn't try to do this on purpose, because they actually worked with military members to help create this game. I know that for a fact. The guy Rabbit, he was a real person. And so it's just a little weird that it's such a generic experience that you can follow the story, but it's just kind of like a string of missions put together. You don't really know why you're there. You're certainly not going to understand what it is supposed to accomplish. You'll do something in this game, and then you'll wonder why you even did it at all, because it doesn't lead to anything. If you can look past the randomness of some of the things that happen in the story, then it's honestly a great game and a great experience if you just don't think about things too much and you're just like, okay, yeah, we're here, we're fighting Al-Qaeda, we're trying to exterminate them, and my squad is on this mission and this is what we have to do to get this shit done. If you just think about it like that, everything makes perfect sense. But if you start to think about the reasons behind everything, it falls apart. I'm just going to be so honest and stop beating around the bush. I have no idea what story they're trying to tell here. It's a giant mixed bag of cliches and tropes that you've seen in so many other games before. It just feels really repetitive and lacking in creativity. The narrative just is super familiar. It uses all these things like SEAL Team 6, missions like where you're all suppressed, and sniper missions where you got to shoot this guy, and all right, now you got to shoot that guy, and then, oh my God, you're being flanked. Vehicle missions that you're just like on the back of the truck on a gun, or you're in a helicopter providing air support for these guys who are pinned down. Then you have one mission where you're an army ranger. You're walking into a huge ambush. It's like all these Hollywood tropes that you've just seen before in so many other games like Call of Duty or Battlefield. It just feels really overused, and it's kind of a little bit just not engaging for people who really like to get like all of their teeth into a story and get all of the lore out of it. Those games where just everything is like a perfect puzzle that just everything fits together. This is not it. This is more like a fever dream of like a bunch of action movies that you've seen, like John Wick and just Michael Bay, and just it's like, okay, now we're going to do it in Afghanistan with the Taliban, and it's just going to be one giant mosh pit of all of this. The best thing I could say about the story is that it's a gritty war tale. At least it's not whatever mess Call of Duty Black Ops 6 was. You're not going to get high on drugs and go fight zombies in some laboratory. You're actually going to be a boot on the ground doing things, and that's what I love about games like this. I guess the point I'm trying to make here is that you're not going to get anything new or special with this game. It's old, and it uses a lot of cliches. And although it uses a lot of cliches, it's still fun, and it's still a good experience. Here are some good things about the game. The team chatter feels authentic, matching real military operators. It sounds so immersive and it's really well executed. I wish that more games put this level of detail into the background dialogue. It adds so much to the experience, and let me just show you a little bit of what I'm talking about.
Clear. Moving up. Action left. Target's right. They're in the garage. Line the vehicle. 2 o'clock. Status. Clear. Hold here. What do you think? That building looks secure. 2 Chechens were guarding it. Something important is in there. Yeah. Rabbit, you're with me. Mother, we got another door. Check. Stack up. Remember, Tariq's in there. Run. Stack up. Tariq? Keep moving. Into the hall. Keep your eyes out for Tariq. Don't shoot Tariq. Hey, where did he name tag? Just don't shoot the old guy. Let's move.
I did die there, ignore that part. But that's just a little taste of what the team chatter is like in this game. Taking little random fights like that where you're trying to clear out a building that doesn't even really necessarily have any significant importance to it, that's how every fight feels. You're going in there, they're telling you, all right, we're the whole plan, we're going to stack up here, you stack up there, we're going to take it at the same time. All right, there's people on the left. All right. Oh, who's is our target in here? How am I supposed to know who our target is? He's not wearing a name tag. They all look the same. All right, well, if he's shooting at you, you could probably shoot him back. Like, that's funny. That's fun. It's whimsical. They do it for almost like every fight. It's different, and I really like it. For their time, the weapon animations are surprisingly well done too, like the reload animations, sprinting with guns. If you don't change the FOV, it doesn't really break anything. And even if you do change the FOV in the config files, you can max out at about 90 to 100 before only one of the weapons has animation issues. So that's pretty impressive. The sound design is equally as impressive. Guns sound powerful. They deliver an immersive experience. It truly makes you feel like you're in the heat of battle. And that's great compared to games like Arma 3, where you need mods to be able to just improve the sound design alone. And that's what I was trying to talk about in the beginning with these early access games that come out now. Not necessarily Arma 3. I don't hate on Arma 3. I love Arma 3 so much. But games that come out nowadays have so many issues that are just like the developers like, oh, we'll fix it in post or whatever, or we'll release patches and, have people basically play test our game and get a shitty experience. And then half the times they end up dead or gone. If you're going to play an old school game like this, you're not going to have to worry about that. The game has gotten all of the updates it could have ever gotten. It's finished. You can run the game. It, it just works. And sometimes in today's day and age, you just want something that works. When you're paying for things like for $30, $40 for an early access, excuse my language, piece of shit fucking garbage game, it's just like you might as well spend the $20 on Medal of Honor or a game similar and actually get like a full experience rather than just beta testing some fucking piece of shit that's gonna die. I know that's a pretty harsh take on modern milsim games, but you have to understand, I'm a huge fan of these games. These are my absolute favorite games to play. And all of these new games today coming out, I keep spending money on them, and they're promising to revive this genre only to remind everyone why it's long dead and gone. And that is so frustrating. It fills me with anger, bitterness, and just depression. And it leaves me looking back in time, like games like this, games like Battlefield Bad Company or Battlefield 3, and it just leaves me wondering why we can't have something like that today with today's graphics and today's design. Uh, Today's design is shit, honestly. That's why I look back and I'm just like, where did we even go wrong? Old games like this have issues. Like the anti-aliasing in this game doesn't work. You can run it in 1440p, but it doesn't work on widescreen monitors. It cuts it off a little bit. There's some issues like, you have to maybe go into the config files and change the FOV manually because they didn't think to add that in the game for some reason, even though it works nearly perfect. There's issues, like the buddy boost system is really old and outdated. It feels really weird when you're trying to, you have to wait for your NPC to come and boost you over the wall. And then you're waiting to go and pick him up and he just jumps over the wall by himself. It's things like that that are just old and outdated. And it's not an issue. Honestly, it's more of just like a 5-second nuisance, but I'm trying to be as honest as I can when I'm giving this review. And I've never made a review before, so I didn't even know what I was really planning to do going into this. I didn't know if I was going to write a good review or a bad review. This is honestly like one of my favorite games from childhood. And now after making this review, I just kind of feel crappy about it, having to shit on it. But at the same time, it's nice realizing that, like, okay, I can just go back to these old games and still find some piece of comfort. And I'm still exploring new old games today that are becoming just my favorites, my new favorites, like that I'm spending hundreds of hours in, like Arma 3, for example. So I just figured I would make this video to kind of just get my thoughts out and just share all of this with you guys. So I really hope that you enjoyed this style of content. I'll probably try to make some more stuff as the days come and go. I've been having quite a lot of fun. So if you made it this far to the end of the video and you enjoyed watching, leave a comment, leave a like, tell me your thoughts. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you next time.